It's time now for Voices of the Region, a weekly review of stories being covered by area journalists. Our guest this time is Aaron Brown, an author and columnist from rural Itasca County.
It might be one of the big stories on the Iron Range this century is the revelation a few weeks ago that U.S. Steel is for sale, or might be for sale. U.S. Steel is, of course, historically one of the great companies in the American economy, but in particular in northern Minnesota. Most of the mining activity you see was initiated by this all-powerful, mighty corporation that was the biggest in the world when it was founded in 1901. And it's been an important figure in the range economy ever since. And to learn that U.S. Steel might be for sale, and that one of the leading companies seeking to acquire it is Cleveland-Cliffs, which is one of the other big companies on the range right now. But if Cliffs acquires U.S. Steel, it would merge all the mines into one company for the first time, even in modern history, because even U.S. Steel never owned all the mines on the Mesabi. So that could have huge implications on the steel industry, of course, but on Iron Range employment for another. It is a real possibility that in a merged situation, you'd see either eventually fewer jobs or consolidations of operations, things like that. Maybe not in the short term, but in the long term. That's not necessarily what's going to happen. The Cliffs is one of the bidders, and actually it's the bidder preferred by the United Steelworkers Union. The union has something of a veto power because of its contract over the sale, and will have a heavy role in negotiating the outcome. The union likes working with Cliffs and would prefer to see them as the company that buys U.S. Steel. But there are actually 4 bidders being reported as of this week for U.S. Steel. In fact, today was the deadline for submitting bids, and we will soon perhaps learn of the identity of some of those other bidders. If you're like me, you've noticed a lot of smoke this summer as wildfire smoke from Canada came down with every front that came from Canada. And it created actually a record number of air quality alerts for Minnesota, and some of the worst air quality we've seen in a long time for the summer months. We've always had haze from distant fires over the many years, but never this frequently and never this thick. And of course, it was a historic record fire in Canada that caused all that smoke. And if you know anything about it, you know that that fire has been burning uncontrolled for a large part since spring, and won't stop until snow falls to put it out. It's a tactic used in the very deepest parts of Canada where there are no road access points to fight the fire. And air assault is too difficult, dangerous, and prohibitive. And so they let the fire burn, and we've been experiencing the smoke. One of the interesting things I learned is that Minnesota is actually one of the most aggressive states in the union, and actually one of the most aggressive places in the world for fighting wildfires. And you can really look back to our history, the 1918 fires that destroyed Cloquet and other northern Minnesota towns that really marked a whole generation for the dangers of wildfire. From that point forward, Minnesota took a different approach, and we have the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources works with other agencies, federal, state, and tribal, and they create a unified response to fire, and they attack fire wherever it occurs. They don't let fires grow if they have anything to say about it, and they don't stop fighting those fires until they're put out. The University of Minnesota Extension Service is looking for hunters to participate in an experiment. They will send you a trail cam, and you will put the trail cam up as soon as you clean a deer, if you kill a deer this year. And they want to watch that gut pile for 30 days. And they want that you send it back when you're done, and they'll check out the tape or the video and look for what kind of critters come and feed on that offal. And actually, the findings that they've had have been fascinating. You'd expect certain kind of animals to be really into that. Of course, the scavenger birds and rodents and things of that nature. But they've discovered that bunny rabbits and horses, when the gut piles were near a horse field, or even deer themselves, will come back and nibble at those nutrients because they're very nutrient rich. A lot of vitamins and proteins in those things, and animals in the wintertime in Minnesota need nutrition, and they'll go after that gut pile. And they also learned that certain predators will use the offal as bait for their own hunting. Certain wildcats and owls will swoop down and eat the critters eating the gut pile.